tweet put out by the former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, who says there is insufficient acknowledgement of three stark facts in that economic survey. He claims that world growth and world trade will slow down, that many advanced economies will go into recession, and the global security situation will deteriorate. If all three materialize, the economic survey is silent about how to manage the Indian economy. Now, this is, of course, an opposition leader, Madan Sabnavis, but do you believe that not enough attention is being paid to the possibility that global headwinds could continue to result in a slowdown of the economy and then its impact on demand, on consumption, on investment, indeed on jobs?
So, Rajiv, if you look at our experience in 2022, when we had all these global headwinds which were there, the Indian economy has still performed well. And there's a reason for it, because we are not that globally integrated. Ours is basically a domestic-oriented economy. We are not being driven by exports. How much ever we'd like exports to be an integral part of our growth story, but the fact remains that it is a domestic story. That's one of the reasons why we have seen this kind of decoupling. So while this is a genuine threat, because we have been affected more on the monetary side, because the flow of funds, foreign direct investment, FPI gets affected. We've also seen the currency coming under pressure. But in terms of basic demand, I think because we are domestically oriented, that gives some kind of strength to us. And that's the reason why the economic survey probably has not harped too much on the global headwinds coming in the way of growth. So I think the number which we're talking of, 6 to 6.5%, is very realistic, because if you also break it down into the various sectors which constitute this GDP growth, we can see almost every sector showing some potential, either statistically or in the real sense, like agriculture or the public administration sector. So I think it's a fair kind of a judgment taken by the economic survey.
You know, Professor Arun Kumar, on the other hand, I've had a government spokesperson who sent me a message on WhatsApp while you were sort of giving the darker side of what lies ahead, saying, please tell Professor Arun Kumar we are the fastest growing large economy. Look at the IMF numbers. That is having an impact. There is job creation that's slowly but surely happening. The numbers are looking better now than they were 12 months ago. Why only present the glass as half empty?
So definitely, I mean, things are better than what they were 12 months back, but you know, that's not a point of comparison. I think the point of comparison should really be what's happened on an average over the last 3 years, and whether we've gone back to the trend that was there earlier. And as Pranjal rightly pointed out, we are way below where we should have been if this pandemic had not come. So we've not recovered from the pandemic's impact in that sense. And what I'd like to point out is that, you see, at this point of time, what we need to do is we need to incorporate the unorganized sector data into our growth rates. That we are not doing. We are assuming that the unorganized sector is growing at the same rate as the organized sector, because of the 39 sub-sectors of the unorganized sector that are measured in GDP, 29 are measured by the organized sector data. So therefore, we are largely assuming that if the organized sector is growing, then the unorganized sector is also growing, which is not correct.
Now, what's your assumption of the unorganized sector at the moment?
So what data do you have? Is that if you look at various sectors like textile, like leather goods, like,
what's the data that you have to say that the unorganized sector is not growing?
Over the last, because the demand has shifted, you look at the FMCG sector, you look at the textile sector, you look at the leather goods sector, you look at the luggage industry, look at the retail trade sector. In all of these, the demand is shifted from the unorganized to the organized sector, and there's a decline of about 10%. Some of the unorganized sector people say there's a decline of 30%, but even if you take a 10% decline, that's a very large decline in the unorganized sector. And that's why the rate of growth is much less than 6 or 7%. That only represents the organized sector growth. And that's why the problem of demand keeps coming back into the Indian economy, which is there, as Madan Sabnavis rightly pointed out, before the pandemic also demand was low, the rate of growth was dropping, and the same thing is happening now. So that's why my argument is that we need to step up our investment in the rural sector. We need to step up our investment in the unorganized sector, help it, as Rajiv rightly said, that we need to help the micro sector, and unfortunately the policies for MSME don't reach the micro sector. They are taken advantage of by the medium sector and some part of the small sector, but they don't reach the 6 crore micro units.